My name is Maria Rea. I work at RAICES, the Refugee and Immigrant Center for Education and Legal Services. I'm the Education and Outreach Specialist for our Austin location. I go out into the community. I talk about this issue to both our allies, but then primarily to our immigrant community to make sure that they have the tools to protect themselves against ICE, against an unfair deportation process, against local state laws like Senate Bill 4, which is more commonly known as the Show Me Your Papers law. That's basically what I focus on. A lot like many of the staff that works for RAICES, and not just in Austin, but in our other offices, a lot of us are immigrants and we have our own story. And so I came to the United States when I was 10, so much like, your DACA recipients. And I was undocumented for 15 years. In the 15 years that my family and I were here, my dad would always tell us, you have to be perfect, you have to be perfect, even though we didn't know whether or not we were going to get an opportunity to fix our status. But he would say that because he knew that our immigration process basically asks you to be perfect. I remember being a teenager and my dad would tell me, no, you can't go out. It's 10 o'clock, you're not going out. And as a teenager in high school, I thought, man, like my friends, my senior year, for example, like prom night, I had to be back early because he knew that if I was out late, I could get in trouble and that could mean that I would get deported or that I wouldn't have a chance to fix my papers. I didn't get in line like people said. I simply fell in love and married my high school sweetheart who is a U.S. citizen, and that was it. Sadly enough, that is one of the very few processes for people to be able to fix their status, right? And then at the very last point of that process, I was told, we're not sure. We're not sure if we're ready to accept you or not. And that had a huge impact on me because at that moment, walking out of that office, I remember thinking, but I've done everything right. But I've kept from doing everything that could potentially get me in trouble. But I did AmeriCorps for 2 years, and in my head I thought, I didn't do it because I thought it would look great. I did it because I've always wanted to serve the community in some way. And to be able to walk out of there thinking, they still have, I'm not sure how else to prove myself. And then to think if they say no, I have to go back to a country that I don't know. But the resilience of people, the way that they are so invested in loving regardless of what they've suffered. I think that is rewarding because that reminds me that humans are good, that most of us are good, and that if given the opportunity, people will do right, whatever that means.